Cooler force. A force not much known about, unknown how many soldiers or anything was in it, but we do know a history of it. A history that goes way, way beyond what we know, but yet a very well thought out one. In these series of videos, I will cover the history and the creation of the Cooler Force. Why was it created? For when it was created, and the exact reason behind its creation. Now, as we know, the Cooler Force was created in before age 737. Its purpose? Well, of course, at the time, Cooler believed he was going to be replacing King Cold as the successor to the organization. But when he found out it was his brother, oh boy, did Cooler lose it. So, this would actually, if in my estimate, would actually bring about its creation somewhere around maybe age 730 or 735 of that time period. Because here's why. The Ginyu Force is a full team in 737 at the time of Frieza's rise to power. So, if my guess is right, or probably not, but if it is, so sometime around age 730, in between like 730, 735, Cooler originally created it, starting with the Armor Squadron, because as we know, Cooler wanted to pick a captain for his individual squad, his elite squad. And in this right here, there were two choices: Salza and Ginyu. Now, as you can see in this picture, Ginyu is in that purplish horned body, but the body behind it, I believe, that is the body that Ginyu used when he lost to Salza. Knowing Cooler, he would have limited it to where they could not use their abilities, and he would have made it on pure strength alone. Because, as we all know, Cooler did not have any mutation or power somewhere at that time, but he believed in brute strength. And that's why I believe, as we see here, this is why Ginyu got this body. And at the same time, he was creating the Ginyu Force. But before that, I believe that body that we see in the background was the body he had at the time of the fight with Salza. Of course, Salza would win this fight, and he would gain the captaincy to the Armor Squadron. Now, of course, further down, before that time, as it was being created, the Armor Squadron was going to be, first of all, Cooler's elite squad that he would go into battle with, because as we know, he owns 256 planets. Now, this squad would of course be his elite squad, and at the time, in his thinking, would have been the ones he relied on to take care of a lot of the other things once he got control of the organization. But as we know, that doesn't happen. So within that time, after that, we'd also know that Dore would also later join, and then Naze would also, or Naze, can't remember I don't know how to properly say his name, would join. And as you look, all three of the members of the Armor Squadron has physical strength, which I think would prove my point to Cooler limiting and telling them not to use any key abilities, which would also prevent Ginyu from using his body change ability. So at that time, as I said, the Armor Squadron was exactly what it was supposed to be. Cooler's elite guard, if you are elite force, if you would, that would be with him upon his rise to power. Now, of course, there's these Tenkai, there's the games Budokai Tenkaichi, Tenkaichi 2 and stuff, where there's a what if of other in that or who would join Cooler's army further down, but we won't get to that as part 1. This is basically part 1 of it. I think I'm going to do a part maybe 3 or 4 parter. But so come age 737 now, Cooler finds out King Cole's going to pass the torch to his brother Frieza, and by this time Cooler is going to leave. He's now going to just take his Armor Squadron and he's going to create his own force, which would be the Cooler Force, and they're going to be the direct opposition and rivals of the Frieza Force, as it is now coming to be known, as Frieza is now taking over their father's position, who has retired and stepped down and given all control to Frieza. So with that, it's Cooler's he's like, you're fine, you favor my brother, I'm going to do this my way, and I'm going to prove to you that I should have been put in charge. So of course, as I said, and then we go into the annihilation of the Saiyans, but I'm going to cover that in another video as well, where I think Cooler would really want to irk Frieza off, but I'm going to cover that in another video. So I hope y'all enjoy this videos. I hope you can this. There's also going to be some what ifs concerning this exact thing coming out as well. But with that, I will see y'all in the next video. And I'm going to say this: long live Lord Cooler.